Welcome to Ayurvedic Pathshala. If you like the videos, hit like and subscribe and keep watching.
Hello students, let us today continue our topic of neonatal jaundice, and we will be discussing today the complication of hyperbilirubinemia, and if the pathological jaundice is left untreated, it can lead to kernicterus, that is bilirubin encephalopathy. So first of all, you should know the literal meaning of kernicterus. Here kernicterus is made up of two words, first is kern and second is icterus. Kern itself means nucleus, and here it is the commonly afflicted region of the brain, that is nuclear region, and icterus is the yellowish discoloration. So whenever there is yellowish discoloration of the nuclear region of the brain, then it is termed as kernicterus, and this kernicterus is a rare neurological disorder because of brain damage, which is caused by high levels of bilirubin in the blood or severe or untreated jaundice during infancy. So whenever there is jaundice in infancy and if it is left untreated, it can or it may lead to serious complication, that is kernicterus, because of marked deposition of wild pigments in the nuclei of brain and spinal cord. And because of the deposition of these pigments, it can lead to damage to the brain cells, potentially leading to cerebral palsy, hearing loss, vision problems, or mental retardation. Okay, so this term was coined in 1904 by Schmerl, and Herbiux described the condition in 1847, and also commonly affected regions were given by him of the brain, that is basal ganglia, hippocampus, thalamus, hypothalamus, corpus stratum, medulla, pons, dentate nucleus, genucleate bodies, cranial nerve nuclei, cerebellum. Here is the picture which shows the commonly afflicted regions of the brain, including basal ganglia and one more important region, that is globus pallidum, which is shown with the help of this marginated circle. Here I am going to show you a picture of MRI of a 6-month aged baby who was born at the age of 40 weeks of gestation, and this MRI was done at 125 hours of age in the hyperbilirubinemic stage, and it shows this hyperintensity of the globus pallidum. This is demarcated with the help of arrows over here, showing the bilirubin pigment here, leading to damage of the cells. Here, because of these dense cytoplasmic bodies, here this is hyper intensified here, and these cytoplasmic bodies which are dense are degenerated endoplasmic reticulum, some of the membrane alterations present here, and deposition of calcium granules inside the cells. All these lead to cell death and irreversible damage, leading to kernicterus. So what is the mechanism that goes inside this brain cell, and what are the factors which are highly responsible for the entry of bilirubin inside the brain cell? Let us discuss about that. In this slide, as you know that unconjugated bilirubin is toxic to the body, and our body combines this unconjugated bilirubin which is toxic to the body to albumin so that it cannot enter into the cells and damage our cells. But later on, because of this hyperbilirubinemia, the equilibrium between bilirubin and albumin is disturbed. With the disturbance of this, there is shortage of albumin in the blood. Albumin supply is diminished and bilirubin supply is increasing with time. With this, there is hyperbilirubinemia in the blood and there is more free bilirubin in the blood. Because of more free bilirubin in the blood, as you know, this unconjugated free bilirubin is lipophilic in nature and it binds to the phospholipid membranes and crosses them, enabling it to cross the blood-brain barrier. Second important thing that occurs here is damage or immature blood-brain barrier. Sometimes because of the conditions like prematurity, anorexia, ischemia, inflammation, hypercapnia, acidosis, trauma, all these conditions lead to immature blood-brain barrier or damage to the blood-brain barrier, leading to more permeability of the blood-brain barrier to the toxic substance like bilirubin. So these factors behave as an aggravating factors and help in the bilirubin entry into the brain, thus again aggravating the condition. Right? So what is the mechanism that is followed inside the cell? This unconjugated bilirubin, it directly exerts affect on the plasma membrane, right? It affects the plasma membrane, mitochondria, and endoplasmic reticulum, leading to excitotoxicity, mitochondrial energy failure, this is important, and increased intracellular calcium levels. Because of both these factors, there occurs cell damage and irreversible damage to the brain because of long duration of exposure of brain cells to the bilirubin, or because of high level of bilirubin in the brain. It leads to irreversible damages to the brain, right? Even the activation of glial cells, or the microglial cells, you can say, they release inflammatory factors, and these inflammatory factors like interleukins, etc., these again aggravate the process of inflammation and lead to more cell damage, leading to more cell necrosis and cell damage, and the result is the stage of kernicterus. In previous slide, there I have also mentioned P-glycoproteins and MRP1. These also help in the efflux of the substances through the cells. These also stop working at this level in the stages of prematurity or asphyxia, and they again act as aggravating factor to the buildup of bilirubin inside the cell. And last factor, which is the blood flow to the brain. More will be the blood flow to the brain, more will be the bilirubin reaching to the brain, and more will be the damage. So all these factors contribute to cell damage. Let's come to causes then. So major risk factors and minor risk factors. Minor risk factors include that the patient is already admitted in the hospital or delivered in the hospital, and we discharged that baby in high TSB level conditions, and baby was already in the intermediate risk zone. That condition can lead to gestational age of 37 to 38 weeks, very rarely. Previous sibling with jaundice. If there is history of previous baby with jaundice, then supposedly we go for this baby also. Microsomic intent of a diabetic mother's, maternal age of more than 25 years, and male genders generally present with this kind of complaint. And the major risk factors are the pathological conditions, which we have already discussed in our previous video on pathological jaundice, that is blood group incompatibility, hemolytic diseases, gestational age of 35 to 36 weeks, previous sibling who received phototherapy, fetal hematoma, significant bruising, any kind of injury, trauma, exclusive breastfeeding with weight loss, that is, breastfeeding is not adequate at all and baby is in dehydration, and e-station days. All these factors somewhere lead to the increase in the chances of kernicterus to the baby. So what are the clinical manifestations? So clinical manifestations generally depend on the part of the brain that is affected, right? If it is early exposure and the bilirubin level is not so high, then the damage is reversible. But if the bilirubin level is high up to 30 to or more than 30, and it is seen that bilirubin level of more than 24 or 25 can definitely lead to kernicterus, and more than 20 mg per dl of bilirubin is a sign of landing of baby into kernicterus. At that time we have to go for quick treatment of phototherapy or exchange blood transfusion, right, to avoid the conditions like kernicterus. But if the baby lands into it, the manifestations will be of two types: acute bilirubin encephalopathy or chronic bilirubin encephalopathy. Acute bilirubin encephalopathy is divided into three stages. First 2 day stage is again a reversible kind of condition. It is a 2 day stage, first phase, in which there will be poor sucking, hypotonia, stupor, and seizures. Phase 2 will be in the middle of the first week, where there will be hypertonia of the extensor muscles, opisthotonus, retrocolis, and fever. And in phase 3, after the first week, we will see hypotonia in the baby. Chronic bilirubin encephalopathy, in the first year, we will have hypotonia, active deep tendon reflexes, obligatory tonic neck reflexes, and delayed motor skills. These chronic kind of features come with the development process. As we go in the development process, it will increase. Then we will notice all these things, that the motor skills are delayed. After first year, there will be movement disorders, upward gaze, and sensory neural hearing loss. So what should be the workup? What should be the treatment plan? We should go for the kernicterus baby. Why? So the first thing in the case of workup is the investigations. So what investigation we should go through? First are hematological studies. In that we go for total serum bilirubin and direct serum bilirubin. As you know that total serum bilirubin will measure the aggregate of all forms of bilirubin in the blood, and direct serum bilirubin will measure the amount of direct bilirubin, that is conjugated bilirubin in the blood. And subtraction of these two, total serum bilirubin and direct serum bilirubin, will yield us what? Unconjugated bilirubin, that is indirect bilirubin. With the help of this, we can know the normal, what are the particular findings of the bilirubin. And you should remember that this unconjugated bilirubin that we will get, it includes three types of bilirubins: bounded bilirubin with albumin, right? Unconjugated bilirubin, which is bound with albumin; free bilirubin, which is not bound with albumin; and even lumirubin. So only out of all this, also out of this, only free bilirubin is available to cross blood-brain barrier and cause kernicterus or neurotoxicity to the baby. So it was seen that total serum bilirubin of more than 20.7 to 59.9 mg per dl can cause kernicterus in the babies, depending upon the different conditions of maturity and any predisposing factors. Second, we have to go for is blood type. As you know, blood type, we can rule out the pathological conditions of hemolytic disease of newborn, RH incompatibility or ABO incompatibility. We can rule out that. Third is reticulocyte count. Babies generally have more reticulocyte count than adults, but if there is more elevation in reticulocyte count, if it is more than 7 milligrams per dl, then we can say that there are chances of hemolysis, hemolytic processes going on in the body. Then a test, that is direct Coombs test. Direct Coombs test, I have already discussed in previous video a little about that it detects the antibody on the red blood cell membrane, right? Sometimes mother develops antibody against baby's antibodies, antigens, sorry, baby's blood cell के against mother ने antibody बनाया होता है. Sometimes there occurs antibody antigen reaction on the blood cell of the baby, and that is detected by the DCT. If it is positive, it means there is antibody present on the RBC and there is some pathology going on like hemolytic diseases. And if it is negative, then it is okay. Then we go for CBC also, complete blood count. In complete blood count, what we can get? HB of the patient, if it is okay or not. Hematocrit, we can rule out hemolysis with both these things. We can also go for peripheral blood film. If we see nucleated reticulocytes in the PBF, then it means there is active reticulocytosis. It means there is hemolysis and there is formation of new reticulocytes, right? And if we can also know the shape of the RBCs, spherocytosis, poikilocytosis, oligocytosis, we can also rule out that कि कहीं shape of RBCs की वजह से hemolysis ज़्यादा तो नहीं है. We can also go check for sepsis, because इसमें जो है lymphocytes count आएगा total, उसके basis हम ये भी देख सकते हैं कि बच्चे में कहीं infection तो नहीं है. We can also rule out infection conditions by CBC count, because infection also acts as a add-on factor into the rise of bilirubin levels. We can go for serum electrolytes. It was seen that babies who are only on this mother field, right, they have less frequency of stool passage, they have uh, dehydration possibilities as compared to the babies who are on formula feed. So before discharge, it is important to go for electrolytes like sodium, potassium, chlorides, bicarbonates, blood urea nitrogen, and creatinine levels, because it was seen that there are practices of giving sodium, right, salt in the diet. So it was seen that more than 194 milliequivalents per dl of sodium can cause death to the baby or can cause kernicterus. So serum electrolytes are important. We can go for lumbar puncture to rule out any kind of sepsis. Transcutaneous bilirubin measurement can be done. We can assess the proper level of bilirubin through that, or the progression of bilirubin rise. We can go for head ultrasonography, as it is a painless portable method for this, and we can rule out any kind of intraventricular hemorrhage through this. As fontanelles are open, we can easily do USG of the head. Parenchymal abnormalities can be seen. We can go for CT scanning, MRI. In MRI also we can see various changes, right? So all these studies or all these investigations are important from the point of view to rule out kernicterus. Last very important thing is treatment. Treatment includes phototherapy, exchange blood transfusion, enteral prebiotics, intravenous immunoglobulins, and metalloporphyrins. As you know that phototherapy acts by its own mechanism by converting the isomers of the bilirubin into soluble form. I will discuss about phototherapy in detail in the coming video. Exchange blood transfusion also, we replace the whole blood in exchange blood transfusion. Again, I will be discussing about this in the coming video with phototherapy, that is treatment of neonatal jaundice, under the topic of that. And enteral prebiotics, it was seen that the enteral prebiotics, these reduce the enterohepatic circulation and thus reducing the bilirubin overload. Intravenous immunoglobulins are also recommended in some studies, that IgGs can be given and they reduce the bilirubin level in the blood. Metalloporphyrins, it was seen that SN-mesoporphyrin, it interferes with the heme oxygenase enzyme. Heme oxygenase is required for the destruction process that occurs in the RBCs when hemoglobin is released, and hemoglobin is reduced in the presence of heme oxygenase. It interferes with that that enzyme, and thus reduces the bilirubin load to the blood. So these are the basic treatment modalities followed, and we will be discussing about the treatment in detail in the coming video soon. Till then, take care.